If you're a business analyst or a product manager who's looking to relocate in 2025, this video is for you. To start with, there are several reasons why this is relevant. So first of all, there is high global demand for these professions. Secondly, many countries provide work visas or visas that are suited for people in professions like this. So that means that you might be able to even relocate with a relative amount of ease. And the third reason is some of these countries offer better work-life balance. They offer opportunities for career advancement. They offer maybe better salaries than what you're earning where you currently are, and all of that. So we're going to unpack that very quickly. We're going to look at 5 different countries that you can relocate to as a business analyst or as a product manager. We'll look at some of the visas that you can apply for in order to relocate, and we'll look at things like that. Does it sound exciting to you? Stick around. I'll be right back. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button so that you can get more and more of my content. My name is Olumide. I'm a business analysis coach. I teach tech. If you're looking to become a business analyst and you want to get trained, head over to businessanalysiscoach.com. businessanalysiscoach.com. That's my website. I have lots of training programs just for you. I'm a BCS accredited trainer. So I train for programs of the British Computer Society, and I'm going to train you to pass those exams and to move forward career-wise. Let me say that there is a bias to this list, and that bias is towards people who speak English, which would be most of the people watching this channel, right? So probably there are going to be better options than the ones I have on this list, but maybe they're just not the most suitable for an English-speaking audience, right? So in this case, I understand that you most likely speak English, and that is why 4 out of the 5 options I'm going to talk about English-speaking countries. So anyway, we're starting with the United Kingdom. And the UK is a great country to relocate to for business analysts and product managers. The UK has a strong job market for business analysts and product managers, particularly if you're looking at cities like London, Birmingham, Manchester. Those are top hubs for business analysis skills. Of course, you might be able to land a role that allows you to work online. So where you are might not matter, but if you are in those particular cities, some of the bigger cities, you stand an even better chance. You can apply for the skilled worker visa. It's going to require that you have an employer who's willing to sponsor you. That basically implies that the employer is, as it were, writing to invite you, to host you, to stand in as your employer. This implies that you must have gotten a job. It must be a job from an employer that is able to sponsor you. One great thing about the skilled worker visa is that there's a pathway to permanent residency and ultimately to citizenship. You can become a permanent resident in 5 years. So how do you apply for roles in the UK? One of the top secrets would be LinkedIn. Use your LinkedIn. There are opportunities on LinkedIn. You need to optimize your profile, and there's a whole lot around that. Maybe one day I'm going to do a video about that. So anyway, LinkedIn. You can also look for specific websites like CW Jobs that would show you sponsored visa jobs that sponsor the incoming employees. The second country we're going to talk about is Canada. So many people love Canada. As a matter of fact, most of the people that I train, you find them either being in the UK or in Canada. So I suppose that they love Canada because for Canada, once you're in, if you're in legally, it becomes easy to gain permanent residency if you don't even already have it at the point of entry. And it is relatively easy to get citizenship. And Canada is a great country, wonderful environment, very cold, but wonderful country. Canada needs professionals like you, business analysts, product managers, particularly in provinces like Ontario and British Columbia. One of the best ways to get into Canada is the Express Entry Program. It's a points-based system that basically sees people applying, entering the different things they have and gaining points for each of those things. So you gain points for your level of education, for your ability to speak English, to speak French, based on scores in specific exams and stuff like that. So it's a points-based system. And eventually, for people who score high enough, then they get into a draw and they stand the chance of being selected for permanent residency. It's a great system. It can be very competitive, obviously, because many people are trying it out. But it's one of the best ways to get into Canada because it also grants permanent residency. Another pathway to explore as a business analyst or a product manager would be the provincial nominee program. You can look at provinces like British Columbia, provinces like Ontario. Those are provinces that tend to favor business analysts and product managers. Sometimes for these things, you might need to look at the exact expressions, the exact NOCs, that's what they are called, the occupational codes that work for you. And you might want to experiment with what might be more in demand, but which is still essentially talking about the same skills that you have. So for example, depending on, the context, you might want to think about something like maybe systems analyst, maybe in place of the word business analyst. Sometimes little changes like that can make a world of difference. So how do you apply for roles? Again, think of your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is a great way to get a job in several countries. So LinkedIn, Indeed Canada, Job Bank Canada is a good one as well. The next country we're going to be looking at that is great for business analysts, product managers who are looking to relocate is Australia. Australia offers great opportunities. Australia is also predominantly English speaking, so that makes it a great choice. I think one downside would be that for many of us in certain parts of the world, we will say that Australia is very far, but that can be an acceptable compromise. People also talk about wild animals in Australia, but I'm sure that that's something that you would get used to. And it is definitely not as bad as it appears in the stories. So why Australia? Strong demand for business analysts and product managers, especially in places like Sydney, like Melbourne. And Australia boasts of great work-life balance, boasts of a very high quality of life. I also know that the opportunities there can be very abundant. I've had students from Australia, and I know that many of them usually just want to have those skills because the demand is quite high for them. So how do you get into Australia? You can explore visa routes like the Skilled Independent Visa, that's subclass 189. One beautiful thing about that particular one is that you don't need an employer to sponsor your application. So how do you apply? Just like we've been saying, explore LinkedIn, but you can also look at the Australian government's job portal. It's a great one to check for job openings. And the next country on our list is, you guessed right, the United States of America. The United States of America is probably unmatched in terms of opportunities. It offers some of the highest salaries, but it also offers Silicon Valley. It offers tech hubs. It's like the capital of tech in the world. So the United States of America is definitely a good option that is worth looking at. It might be more difficult to migrate to, but it is definitely worthwhile for those who do. So how do you get in? You can explore visa routes like the H-1B, which requires employer sponsorship. However, it also still involves a lottery. So there are two key things to that system: employer sponsorship and the lottery. And so it can be a bit of a pain. One other route that you can explore is what is known as the O1 visa. The O1 visa is meant for foreigners of extraordinary ability. It means that you have to be able to prove that you're among the best in your field. And I know that is already discouraging. You're probably already thinking, hey, I'm not going to be qualified for this. But I would say, don't defeat yourself just yet. Read up some more on the O1 visa and try to see if you are eligible for it, or if you can prepare yourself to be eligible for it. Sometimes with some of these criteria, you might need to do a bit of work. You might need to apply for a few things here and there and do a number of things, but ultimately some of these criteria are things that you might be able to eventually meet up with. So explore the O1 visa. It's a good idea. If I could also add more to that, I would say you might also want to look at some green card options like the EB-1A. The EB-1A is like the permanent resident version of the O1 visa, meaning that it's a little tougher to obtain than the O1 visa, but it's meant for people of extraordinary abilities. So you can look at that. A similar one is the EB2, the National Interest Waiver. It's also a green card program, and essentially you're showing that you have an advanced degree, which basically would mean like a master's degree or higher. And you're also showing that you are in an area that is of national importance to the United States, which would be most STEM areas. It really depends on how you craft your application, right? So explore some of these things, because the United States is definitely a good option to look at. How do you get a job in the US? Again, LinkedIn. You'll notice that for all the countries that we've talked about, we've emphasized LinkedIn. So your LinkedIn profile, you might also want to look at Glassdoor. You might want to look at Indeed. And then you might want to look at some of the websites that offer even remote jobs as well, like We Work Remotely, and several other options like that. And the final country that we're going to be looking at for you as a business analyst or a product manager is Germany. Germany is a good country for skilled workers, because Germany is all about industry. It's all about industrial growth. So if you're skilled, you might find a place in Germany. And Germany also offers relatively good pay as well. So that is something to consider too. For Germany, you can apply for the EU Blue Card. It's meant for highly skilled workers that are earning, I think, over 45,000 euro per year. So if you meet up with that, you can apply for the EU Blue Card. Obviously, for you to apply for that, depending on your circumstances, you might need to have actually moved to Germany first and then gotten a job, and then you might be able to apply for the blue card. So that might not necessarily be your first immigration status, but one that you can consider as your first status might be the job seeker visa, which is meant for people who are looking for a job. That's why it's called job seeker visa. So you can explore that. You will need to show that you can take care of yourself. You won't be a liability to the country. So you must show that you have the finances and all of that, and potential skills to be able to land a job in Germany. How do you apply? You can look at platforms like Stepstone, like Indeed Germany, and of course LinkedIn. A potential downside of Germany for English-speaking people is Germany is a German-speaking nation. Although I should say that many Germans speak English. In fact, the English literacy in Germany is one of the highest in non-English Europe. Okay, so many Germans speak English, but that doesn't mean they are going to speak English to you. I mean, I've experienced that. I've been to Germany a couple of times, and one of the things I saw was that even for English speakers, they would prefer that you speak German to them. So you might want to consider that when thinking about relocating to Germany. Either you're ready to learn the language, or you are ready to endure the inconvenience of looking for the people who are willing and able to speak English to you. Okay, so we've explored 5 countries that you can migrate to as a business analyst or as a product manager. I think it's a great point to stop it. Let me mention again that I teach business analysis. If you head over to my website, businessanalysiscoach.com, you'll find great courses on business analysis and on product management, and in fact other areas as well. So head over to that website, check out my courses. They're quite affordable, and I'm a BCS accredited trainer, meaning that I'm a trainer for the programs of the British Computer Society. So if you want to get certified by BCS, you should definitely check out my courses. You would also get better deals than you would get from UK-based trainers, because I offer Africa-friendly pricing, right? And it's online, so even though it's Africa-friendly, you really can be anywhere in the world. So check it out. If you've not subscribed to this channel, do it right now. Leave a like, leave a comment. I'll be happy to read your comments. I hope to see you in my very next video. Have a lovely day. See you then.